Hey everyone, this is Ryan, the host of Coffee People and Coffee Smarter, and I'm encouraging you to check out Roastar Coffee packaging found online at roastar.com. They print great-looking coffee bags for a host of your favorite companies that trust Roastar to produce the packages worthy of their specialty coffee beans. Head to roastar.com to learn more about their quick turnaround time, digital printing, and smaller print runs. You can also check out their updated design lab and create an entirely new package in the blink of an eye. In short, Roastar can help you make a great coffee bag. And on roastar.com, you can start with a quote and end with the perfect coffee bag to share your story. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Coffee People podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Woldt. This show is presented by Roastar Coffee Packaging and is part of the Roast West Coast Coffee Network. Go to roastwestcoast.com to find recaps of this show, our Coffee Smarter podcast, and so much more. On the Coffee People podcast, we connect with guests who have some sort of connection to the coffee industry. We share the stories of entrepreneurship, motivation, challenge, and inspiration, often with a great cup of coffee. Today, I'm drinking a Kalita Wave brewed cup of our Relative Coffee collab. Yeah. If you'd like to give it a try and drink one with me, you'll find the link to the Relative shop in this podcast's show notes. Our guest today is Lee Lizzotte. He's the founder and head roaster of True Love Coffee in San Juan Capistrano, California. We're also joined by Lee's Weimaraner Ruth, who is playing with a toy in the background. I encourage you to follow at True Love Coffee Co. on Instagram while you're listening today. And I'll share all the links in this podcast show notes, or if you're listening in our newsletter found at roastwestcoast.com, it should be right there at the top. Wherever you are, I hope that you have a good cup of coffee at the ready, because it's time for another Coffee People conversation. This one with Lee Lizzotte, founder of True Love Coffee Company.
My name's Lee. I started True Love Coffee about 3 years ago. We're based in San Juan Capistrano, Southern California.
I mean, an important question to get started is, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Weimaraner.
Yeah, I saw him bouncing around back there.
Oh yeah, she's crazy, and separation anxiety is real, so I just leave the door open.
Separation anxiety is real over here too, but it's more for me. Like, the dog would rather just take a nap, but I'm like, no, you need to come pay attention.
You need to be here.
Well, True Love is your company now, and there's a lot going on and a lot of new stuff in the last year, but that's not kind of where your coffee journey started. I'm wondering if you have kind of a first memory with coffee that made you think, oh, this is kind of cool, this is interesting, or something that triggers a memory for you, sending you down this path.
Yeah, so I used to live right by Hidden House in San Juan Capistrano, and I'd go in there pretty much every morning before my shift at the driving range and get coffee and bother them about all things coffee because I was just getting really into it. And I feel like this is so common, natural Ethiopia tastes like blueberries in around 2012. I feel like everyone's coffee story starts with that. But yeah, I vividly remember being like, this is crazy. Because before that, I was just drinking like whatever batch brew coffee and going to the golf course, picking up golf balls all day. And then I had that one. I was like, this is so different. And that really just, just kickstarted my goal to just keep learning about coffee. Like, I always want to continue my education, and just knowing that coffee could taste that different really excited me.
Well, you didn't stop there. If I'm not mistaken, you worked at Hidden House, didn't you, for some time?
I did.
How did that happen? Did they just get sick of answering your questions and be like, you might as well just stay here all day?
Honestly, kind of. I just, would always just talk to them, bug them about a job. And at the time, it was pretty much just family working there. I think there's like 2 other people that were like family friends that were working there. So there's like a really small group for a while. And then one morning I was scheduled to work at the golf course. I don't know if he's going to admit this, but I'm pretty sure Ben had a little too much to drink the night before. He had quite the party face then. And he called me at like 6 a.m. that morning. Was like, "Hey, you want to come in and work?" And I was like, "Yep." So I called out sick to the golf course and came in and worked. And he just hid in the back, made smoothies and worked on register for a while, and then finally got learned to make some coffee. And yeah, I stayed there from 2012 to like late 2016. So I started as a barista, and store managed San Juan, and then I learned to roast with John Dale at the Santa Ana location. Definitely got my start there. Got to learn how to make coffee, but I never really got into the sourcing or building profiles. It's kind of more just like doing production stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a great start.
What happens then in 2016? Where do you go from there?
I moved to Los Angeles to like try and learn more about coffee. I worked as the bar manager for Squirrel in Silver Lake, which was great. They're super high volume, and Jessica, the owner, let me be creative with the menu. So I got to get coffee from all around the world and work with a bunch of cool roasters, and that was an awesome experience. But like being introverted and like pretty shy, like being in a new area, I just did not know anyone. So like every day off, I found myself just coming home and like hanging out with my family. And I was like, and then like my girlfriend at the time, she worked in restaurants too, but she was more dinner service, and I was, brunch. So like just opposite schedules. So it was just like a pretty lonely time for me. So I was like, wow, I love the job I'm doing. It was just like everything outside of it was pretty miserable. So I was like, I'm going to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit up Ben again and worked at Hidden House again. um, yeah, so it's nice to be able to come back and have that relationship.
Yeah, I think there's some bravery in that though too, in saying, I like this thing that I came here for, but it's just there's something about this fit that isn't right, and I'm gonna go back to where I was.
Yeah.
Some people would feel like, oh, I can't go back, I can't go and do that thing again, but you recognized it as a value to you, which I think is pretty insightful.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it was just, a great environment. Like it just felt really homey too. So just like, I think, he liked to help me out, and I knew there's more to, learn at the roasting side there too. Going back to being a barista, I was like, this is cool, but I connected so much more with the roasting side. So being able to go back and be an assistant roaster again, I got to like, really hone in on my actual passion in coffee. So that was great. But then around that time, I met my now wife, and I was like, I can't afford to be a husband on a assistant roaster salary. I mean, I'm sure I could have made it work, but not in Southern California is tricky. So I was like, a couple of my friends went to like EMT school and started doing the fire stuff, and I was like, well, that seems stable. So I went to EMT school, worked on the ambulance for a while, fire academy, and I was uncomfortable the entire time. Just, um, yeah, it's like the stability was there, but like the personalities are very different. Wasn't passionate about the job at all. I was just like, yeah, and I was like, I need to go back to coffee. So yeah, I started True Love. I was like,
What did your wife, now wife, say when you said, I'm going to leave the stability and go back to the thing I was doing before?
she was super supportive, because I was gone a ton. Like the schedule is supposedly 48/96. So you work for 2 days and you're off for four, but you're usually forced to work another day. So being gone like 3 days straight with a baby on the way was not super enticing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so like I think just quality time is one of our like highest priorities just as a couple. So like that being out the window with a baby on the way was just kind of like, I don't even care if it's less stable as long as you're like here to help. It means more than, a paycheck.
I like that. hospitality was more of a positive work-life balance than another job because that's not something I I hear very often. It's usually, early hours, long days, craziness, and
Yeah.
so that's cool. So where does true love come from? You wanna get back into coffee, but you know that you need something more than just a job. What made you think, "Oh, I can start my own?"
So my brother-in-law, he had some money he wanted to like invest in something. He's like, oh, we should do a coffee company because I know you're passionate about that and I want to invest in something. So I was like, oh, perfect. This is like lining up great. And then before, like, I already quit my job, and then he's like, actually, I can't invest. And I was like, well, I'll go to the bank. So the original goal, which honestly I'm really glad didn't work out, we were originally just going to start with a cafe and just like go for it. But obviously I couldn't do that on my own. So the bank would only give me $10,000. So I was like, well, let's see what I can do with that. So I found a used Linea Mini and then got a cart and just like did catering and pop ups. And it ended up being so good for me. Met a lot of great people and then found this like pretty big hole in the market. Like there's not a lot of coffee carts that do like weddings and showers. Like you definitely have to like swallow some pride and make like 10,000 iced vanilla lattes. But like people are so stoked on it. Um,
Mhm.
and the money is great in that. And I think it's always going to be a part of my business, honestly. Like, because now that it's gotten busier, I've been able to like pull baristas from other shops that need more hours and have them work some events for a higher wage than they'd be normally making because the margins are a lot better in the catering. And so it started as like a how do I pivot from this to like, oh, there's actually this really cool community that can grow quite a bit and help some other people out too. So that's kind of out of necessity how True Love started. It was just like popping up random spots and doing these like 4-year-old birthday parties and
I hear a lot that cafes and carts start roasting because they need a better margin. But you had already had roasting experience before you started the cart. And so was that always
Mhm.
part of your plan? And when did you decide to start really transitioning into that?
So I just was looking at the startup costs of roasting and being like, I simply cannot do that. Um, so I was like, maybe I'll just do this cart and see kind of what falls into place. So yeah, I was just kind of gigging around with the cart. I always wanted to be a roaster again, but I was like, I just don't know how I was going to do that. Um, and then during the slow times, I reached out to Jeff from Bear Coast and I was like, hey, do you need help at your warehouse? Just like sending out orders or something. Like I need extra money. So I was doing that for a little bit. And then he's like, hey, would you ever want to like roast on the side for Bear Coast? And I was like, sure, like extra money and get a roast again. So I was doing that, and I got the idea. I was like, what if he'd let me toll roast? Um, and he was super for it. But then that kind of came with this weird, like, oh, True Love's getting a little busier. They're obviously getting busier. How do I do both? Um,
Mhm.
and he was really generous and was like, just keep toll roasting. I'll find a roaster for Bear Coast. And so I'm still there toll roasting. And it's I honestly don't know how else I would have done it. Like, being like a new company, cash flow is everything. I couldn't imagine just like dropping a ton of money on a facility, and
Mhm.
so it definitely helped me give it a start, and then like really low overhead to start growing wholesale, and not like have too much stress, and it's been great. But now that things are getting busier, I think getting a space on my own to roast soon would be
Sure.
nice just because.
It
Yeah.
it's always nice to have your own thing where you know where everything is and it's yours and you set it up
Hmm.
the way you want. True Love has a unique, what I would say, like kind of pin-up tattoo artisty
Hmm.
1950s design vibe to it. Where did that come from? Where did the name come from? And then how did you kind of settle on some of that branding? Like that vintage surf poster vibe, you know?
Yeah, I think in my, I guess, immediate area, coffee can be really sleek and minimal, and which is really cool. But I just personally love like old vintage matchboxes and like tiki bars and diners, and it always just feels super cozy to me. And I was like, now I have the chance to brand my own company. I want to do something a little bit different and kind of lean into stuff that makes me feel good. So I met this designer, Louis Frey, and he's done pretty much everything for me since. I sent him like some matchboxes I like, and the name True Love I came up with in high school because I just like dreamed of having a little diner one day. Like, but sounds kind of like a nightmare now having a food. So, but I was like, okay, that name would still work with coffee, and yeah, I just wanted like a cozy dinery, vintage feeling coffee brand, and he did a great job with the design stuff, and he's been great to work with.
Yeah, I'm going to share some photos of your logo and some of the merch that you have. And I was thinking about how, when I was just going through your website recently, this design works for any decade, any generation. It'll work 10 years from now. It'll work 100 years behind us. Like it's got
Mm,
that style, that iconic look. So we did a great job. You have a You'll have to let me know kind of where you're at in the process. When I saw you a few months ago, you were talking about a possible new location collaboration event, and I see
hmm
it's announced on your website is coming soon. But what's the status of a new cafe pop up space in San Juan Capistrano, and why the collaboration effort?
Yeah, so it's getting really close finally. It's been April will be 2 years. So the back and forth with the health department took the longest, and definitely learned a lot in that.
Wait, 2 years since like this space came up, or 2 years since the
Yeah,
idea? Oh wow.
yeah. And they've been super understanding and super supportive. But yeah, it's we're finally in construction now. Plumbing's done, electrical's done. Tile was supposed to be done last night, but I was a half a box short in tile. So today I'm gonna run down to the tile store and see if I could get like literally 10 more pieces of tile. So we're definitely on the home stretch now, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, I actually met Freenote through Hidden House in like 2012 ish.
Yeah, what is Freenote again? What is that? Just for people listening.
They do like kind of workwear, Western-ish, like menswear clothing. So it's all designed here in San Juan, and they manufacture it in Los Angeles. And they source is like really high quality denim and all here in the States, or they do like leather in Italy and Japanese and stuff. So really cool stuff. Been a big fan of the clothes for a long time. And then they got this new space in San Juan. They're like, oh, we really got to have like a cafe in the front. And you like exit through the cafe into the showroom. And when they reached out to see if I'd be interested in that, I was super excited because my goal is kind of always just to focus on wholesale roasting. Like cafe would be cool, but it's just like didn't seem like it's in the cards for a little while just because rent is crazy in Orange County, and I'm not planning on leaving Orange County. So I was like, it just I feel like I would need like a really robust wholesale to kind of float the cafe for a long time. And but collaborating like this definitely takes off the burden of a huge, rent payment and stuff. So yeah, the subleasing from them made it really affordable and doable. And I think just as a customer, it'd be cool to walk in there and see more than just a cafe, like see a really cool retail store with some cool clothes and kind of like mixed use vibe is not super common in Orange County. It definitely came with some challenges, but
I do think that's going to be more common though. Yeah, like I think the idea
I hope
of
so.
collaboration shops, I mean, over the past few years, I've been in some cool plant store coffee shops, vintage clothing
Hmm.
coffee shop, records coffee shop. But I think the what you mentioned about the rent really makes, especially here, I mean, this is the first time I'm saying this on the show, but I'm considering a move away from Southern California in part because can I really accomplish the things I want to accomplish if I'm paying this much for rent every month?
Totally.
And, could I use that money elsewhere? What could I sacrifice this place that I love to live, in order to get something else? And it's a
Hmm.
question that I think my brother and I were talking about this. He used to live here, and he moved this last year, and it was this idea that housing and or commercial rent for a business, because we both run our own business, it takes up a significant percentage of our daily thoughts. Because you're
Yeah.
always it's more than you realize, because it's always just present as you're thinking about, oh, I want to do this thing, but I
Hmm.
have this much money allocated elsewhere.
Yes.
So how do you survive? So I think your collaboration is going to make a lot of sense. The space I believe is so Hidden House, which is kind of a really well known coffee place,
Hmm.
is right in that downtown off the train track, heart of San
Yep.
Juan. You're a little bit further away. So if people were going to find you in the future, where are
Yes.
they going?
So Community Capistrano is the street that like runs right through downtown. I'm on like the south end of that. So there's like a Trader Joe's, which is like pretty good landmark, right across the street from Trader Joe's.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a cool like old arch building. It'll be a good spot for people who are like live in or near San Juan because it's really accessible. There's free parking there, and kind of out of the downtown craziness. But I think more of the visitor tourism stuff, like Hidden House is going to crush with that. Like they're in such a good
Mm.
spot for that, where a lot of the San Juan locals, it's especially on weekends, it's getting really hard to get down there. So I think giving the immediate area neighbors another option, I think will be helpful.
There's always tension between needing tourism to survive and also like I want my own spaces back.
Yeah,
And
I know.
I feel that as well. Now that you've been doing True Love for a couple of years, you've kind of come to this point where you're doing the thing you kind of wanted to do but didn't think was possible. And are you finding that working for yourself is what you expected, being your own boss?
It definitely shows you your strengths and weaknesses, like really intensified. Like it's like, oh, I am not as organized as I thought I was, or like, oh, I am actually better at this than I thought I was going to be. Like it just makes you feel very vulnerable. But through that, I've been able to lean on like other people in my community that are great at things. Like, sure, it would be nice if I could have just figured out how to design my own stuff and save money there, but like it wouldn't be that special, you know? So now I get to like, from the beginning, I pretty much wanted to be like, okay, I'd rather allocate some money to like these very talented people in a specific thing to help in these areas, and that just take that stress burden off of trying to do everything on my own. But then there's all these things like I didn't know anything about taxes and I'm still learning, and like there's just like nonstop learning, which I kind of enjoy, but there's definitely like some stressful moments from like, wait, what is this new? I don't know, do you see that new like franchise thing where it's like it's for like LLCs and even small businesses that like you need to file like who is the primary
Yeah.
owner of it, or else you get like $10,000 fine and 2 years in prison or something like that. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, the
um,
tax and franchise board emails, I get those. I read
yeah,
most of them.
yeah,
We just kind of there's and at some point, especially when you're first starting, you're like, I don't make enough money to even figure this out at
right,
some point. So then
yeah,
you got to work your way into it. And I just I
hmm
hire I hired an accountant that does our taxes, and it's just
I
I
just
give
did,
him
and it's
everything I
been,
have, and he makes sense of it somehow, and I don't
hmm
understand. You mentioned leaning on other people. I know, more recently you've brought some family in to help out, in particular your brother.
yes,
Correct me if I'm wrong,
hmm
Dana. Is
yep,
that right?
hmm
Yeah, Dana.
yeah,
I
that's
knew
it,
I knew I remembered it, but I was like, I don't want
yeah,
to
that was a good
guess.
job. Um,
Who I got a chance to meet just briefly, and what has it been like working with him? And what motivated you to say, "Oh, I'm gonna open this up, and we're gonna do this as a family."
yeah, it's been really good actually. We're super different. Like he's very type A, very structured, comes from like hospitality background of 5-star hotels, like, and I've always been in like small businesses, coffee, like, so just being on like the opposite ends, I was like, I see a huge hole in like True Love's potential. Like, I kind of always focused to like sourcing and roasting and brewing, like all of that side of coffee. I was like, this is what I love. But then like wholesale is harder for me, like because I'm just not a salesperson. Like I'll go to shops and do a tasting if I like it. I'm like, sweet. That's like as far as I go with it. And it's worked for a couple good accounts that I'm stoked on, but like there's just so much more potential in it if you're organized and just, yeah, I don't know. So just knowing he can help me with that, it's been good. And then when the shop opens, I think it's gonna be a huge asset to like scheduling and managing employees because I am so passive. Like I would just be a doormat and just work every day because someone doesn't want to come into work. And yeah, I need boundaries, and I think you would definitely help with that. I think his strengths definitely complement my weaknesses, and then he's just eager to learn, which is great too. That's like all I could ask for. Someone who's just eager to learn with a good attitude, and that's what he has. So also his taste is so good. Like he has no coffee background. In the like first tasting, I taste every Monday blind for production cuppings with like other people's coffee on the table just because it helps me stay calibrated. And I was like, don't like guess any of the coffee, just like tell me some notes and stuff. And he was like doing an amazing job. I was pretty blown away.
No bad habits yet.
Not yet, exactly.
He's
Yeah.
coming in fresh.
Yeah.
He's going to learn your habits.
Yeah.
What about
But
the family dynamic? I mean, do you get along as brothers? Like I have two brothers. I don't know that we could work together. I mean, we're all entrepreneurial, but
mhm.
I think it would be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's still new. We're gonna run into some stuff for sure. But yeah, I think he's just it helps that he's so green in the coffee because he looks to me as like someone to teach him stuff still. I think once we're more into his ballpark of like, or ball, I don't know, like in his field of like management and stuff, maybe we'll start butting heads on some stuff. But right now, he's just trying to learn as much as possible. So it's kind of like, um, yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like even outside of work, we're just both pretty easygoing people. So it's we never really fought much growing up. I'm the middle child, so I literally had to sit in the middle seat growing up because my brothers would fight constantly. So it's like I was always kind of peacekeeper growing up. So I think I kind of just leaned into that.
I like it.
Yeah. So hopefully it stays cool. But
We'll find out. If we see you in the news, we'll know things went off the
yeah,
rails.
exactly. Exactly.
So I've been asking my guests a lot lately, just for some of their advice and their thoughts, and so I'm wondering if an aspiring person came up to you and asked, "What should I know about coffee or the coffee industry that you wish you had known?" What would you tell them?
I feel like coming up in coffee, I didn't realize how like inclusive the community is. I thought it was kind of like every shop is in competition with each other. And I felt that way for kind of a while, which is a bummer, honestly, until like True Love. Because then now being like, okay, like who else do I know? Because I need help with a million questions and equipment and stuff. So then I kind of started leaning on like other shops around me, asking them questions, and everyone was so open and supportive. And I don't know, like people who I should technically be in direct competition with, like Jeff from Bear Coast or Matt and Golden Lantern, like we share equipment constantly. Or like if my machine's down, they lend me one or theirs. Like it's everyone just wants to like help each other out and like have friends and connections in the community. It's like I'd say just lean on the people around you and support each other and taste other people's coffee. Don't just keep drinking your own. Like I don't know. I think it's just such a great space full of wonderful people and just get to know them
Mm-hmm.
and I'm preaching to myself because it's so easy for me just to stay in a warehouse by myself. Like, but like, yeah, just like invite people to your production tastings, go to other people's. Like, it's so helpful for everyone to be tasting other coffees and building these
Yeah.
connections with other small businesses because everyone needs help. Like things come up constantly, and it's so amazing when you could lend a hand to somebody or they could return the favor. It's cool. It's not a competition. There's plenty of coffee to go around, and honestly, I don't think people care. I think people want to go to a shop they like or try a new spot. Like it's not like you're pulling anything away from anyone else having a shop. So
That's advice I often give to myself as well, to lean on other people, because I would rather just
mm,
try to force myself to do everything, and it never
mhm.
works out in the way that I hoped. Is there anything I didn't ask you about today, about True Love, about you, about anything that you really wanted to share?
I don't know. You had some great questions.
How do you define true love? How's that? That's a more meta
Mm,
question in general. Not the
yeah,
company, but true love as a concept.
yeah, I love it. Warm, sweet, kind is a phrase that I like thought of with the company. It's kind of like the little motto. And I think it kind of is fun with coffee too. But just like being selfless and patient and caring is like all you could do in coffee and in actual love. Like just, I don't know, like for me, I definitely have people pleasing tendencies. But like if I were to do everything my own way all the time, I would be so unhappy. But if I could like, I don't know, be kind to someone else or like help someone else with something, it like brings me joy and obviously helps them too. So like that's kind of something I've learned in my personal life, but just trying to apply that to business has been super fun, and it's like kind of breaks down that tension between like other business owners and stuff, just being like, oh wait, he's reaching out to me to help me with something, or like I don't know. I think that's just been living up to the name I gave my own coffee shop, you know.
I talk about this show being a platform to uplift other people's stories. And I certainly get value and a lot of inspiration talking to everyone. But I did have to learn before this show and in other business ventures that just because I'm offering doesn't mean I should expect something in return. And I think when I was younger, maybe there was this, oh, I helped you and you didn't help me, attitude that
Mm-hmm.
I brought to some things. And what I've learned now is that's not how the world works. Now I just offer because I know that somewhere down the line, someone will help me out or will, be there when
Totally.
I need them if I reach out. But it is a proactive thing. You can't just be taking all the time or wanting something
Yeah.
in return. It's not a one-to-one exchange. It's if you see a need and you can help, you help and hope that it comes back around and assume that it will, because
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing. If you are out doing a little tour of Southern California, you stop in a coffee shop, what are you going to order?
I love to see a pour over menu, which is getting harder to find, unfortunately. Especially like if someone roasts, I feel like it's really great to be able to try like I pretty much only drink coffee, like drip coffee. I'll do espresso like here and there, but I just love filter coffee. So oftentimes like the batch brew is like the crowd pleaser, which is fine, but it's really great when you see like a pour over menu and get ask the barista about their favorite coffees, and that's my favorite thing in the world. If it's not that, Daydream has a really cool drink called a one in fun, which is like kind of a traditional one in one, a split shot, and then but the other one is like a cortado with the barista's choice of whatever they want to put in it. It's oftentimes like some sort of bitters and a little syrup or something, and it's awesome. They put little sprinkles on it sometimes. It's
Oh, fun.
incredible. Yeah, and the name
One
is
in fun is
amazing.
a good name. Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say
it's
that
so
could
good.
apply to a lot of ways, and my brain could go down a real dark rabbit hole real fast with it. But
Yeah.
Lee, I really appreciate you taking some time away from your introverted warehouse time and chatting with us. I certainly am excited to see one, how this new shop comes together, and
Thanks.
two, I'm glad that having met you a few times, that a good person is having some good things happening to them. And so thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been great and definitely got me out of my comfort zone and glad I did it.
What's the name of the pup? I forgot to ask earlier, I think.
Ruth.
Ruth. That's a
Yeah.
very adult grandmother name.
Yeah, she as a puppy was very much giving that vibe, but she's become a wild animal in her teens.
Okay, I'll give you a few key takeaways here, but head to roastwestcoast.com to see much more in the newsletter. Lee's path to coffee began with a passion for learning. His persistence and fearlessness and willingness to ask questions at his local coffee shop, Hidden House, eventually inspired them to ask him to step in on a day when they needed help, because they trusted he'd been putting in the work. At one point, he went to LA to expand his craft and learn the other side of the business. But what he gained in new experiences, he lost in quality of life. He made the choice to make the drive back down the 5 and return home. He still had the desire to be more financially stable, which led him to EMT school, and he took a turn being a first responder. But the fit wasn't there either. He had to acknowledge his home was in coffee. Starting True Love became his option for both making enough money to survive and spend quality time with his family. But there were still financial constraints, and the fact that he'd already quit his job forced him to retool his original coffee shop plan. Instead, he started with a coffee cart, working pop-ups and catering gigs. It ended up being the best thing for him in his business because he found a hole in the marketplace that offered room to grow. Now, with his cafe, he's collaborating with Free Note Coffee Clothing on the space, which takes some of the financial burden off that would have weighed on Lee had he tried to open the cafe on his own, especially at Orange County rental rates. Through this process, he's learned that working for himself really taught him what he did best and, of course, also his weaknesses in a very intense way, and he felt vulnerable. The industry is more supportive than he realized at first. He's leaned into, leaning on others for help, and they've been there to hold him up and push him forward. In the same way, he's now there as a pillar for those around him. Finally, the ethos of True Love, both the coffee company and Lee's Loves and Life, are to be warm, sweet, and kind. It's actually how he signs his emails. That's our show for today. I'm actually on my way up to San Juan Capistrano to check out the new True Love space. They are so close to opening the doors to the cafe, to the community, and beyond. Just one last inspection to go, and we wish them good luck. I want to thank Lee for his patience in me for getting this show out, and for sharing his time, story, and dropping some knowledge on us. You can find a longer recap in our newsletter at roastwestcoast.com, and be sure to follow True Love on Instagram at True Love Coffee Co. While you're on your phone, and we both know that you are, it really helps us if you tap the follow button on this show or give us a few stars on whatever platform you're listening to us on. If you want to go beyond and support the Coffee People podcast, the best way is to follow our newsletter at roastwestcoast.com or tell a friend about us. I'm always telling my friends about Roastar Coffee Packaging, found at roastar.com. They're this podcast's presenting sponsor and will help you tell the big story of your small business. They've been an incredible support in enabling us to develop this platform where we share the stories of coffee people. Check them out on roastar.com. We've also been supported by some great coffee industry partners: Zumbar Coffee and Tea, Maria Coffee, and Cape Horn Green Coffee importers, Crossings Coffee and Hisea Coffee Source, Ignite Coffee Company, Ascend Coffee Roasters, Me and My Uncle Coffee, Craft 42 Roasters, Relative Coffee, and Cozy Canine Coffee. Thank you for listening and sharing this podcast, asking questions, and being coffee curious. This show, the Coffee People Podcast, is part of the Roast West Coast Coffee Network. This episode has been written, produced, researched, and recorded by me, Ryan Woldt. Wherever you find yourself today, I hope it is with a fine cup of coffee. Thank you for listening to us tell the stories of coffee people. Any idea? I didn't want to ask on the show, but on your timeline?
Construction should be done early next month. And then assuming the health department is nice to me, I would say, that could be open by December. That'd be amazing. Just to, get some those like Christmas sales and stuff would be super helpful. But I've just tried to learn to just roll with it.
Yeah.
It's been like the original launch date was supposed to be August of last year, so I'm already way past that. So I'm just like, hey, if it opens, right on.
Oh my God.